Well, hello everybody. My name is Paige. I am one of the co-initiative leads for the New and Early Career Faculty Initiative with the CAE-CD Community of Practice. Our goal is to connect new and early career faculty with all of the amazing resources and people in the CAE community, and I'm so happy that you guys decided to join us on this afternoon/morning at the end of your week here in February. We are super excited to have a number of presentations today on a ton of different curriculum and teaching resources. We've started this curriculum and courseware showcase last year, and it was a big hit, so we decided to bring it back. And we had some awesome presenters submit, and they're going to be going through that today. Just a few quick things before we go ahead and get started. This will be recorded, put on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, you found it. And for next month, we are going to be having a panel on cyber labs/cyber ranges. So if you'd like to join us next month, I will be sending out all that information, and that'll kind of be along the same lines of different resources for teaching and things like that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our first presenter, Tahir, who's going to be presenting on enhancing student engagement with hands-on activities. So I'm going to let him take over and hop on off.
Yeah, thank you so much. Second here. Okay. My name is Tahir Khan. I'm an associate professor and also an interim director of WIU Cybersecurity Center at Western University. Today's my presentation topic is enhancing students' engagement with hands-on activity. For those of you guys want to follow along and want to download today's presentation material, it is available to you guys using the short link and also using the QR code. So I'm going to take maybe a second. I will give you guys maybe a few seconds to download it if you guys want to. Meanwhile, I just want to explain the purpose of today's presentation. The purpose of today's presentation is to explain you guys a process, like what process that I use to create hands-on activities for my students and that helps them to engage in the classroom. So let's move on and to the next slide. In the next slide is about the course information. So today I'm going to talk about one of the courses that I teach at WIU. It is a 300 level course. The course title is Introduction to Computer Forensic. And this is pretty introductory course in the computer forensic that covers hardware and software tools. And most of the time, it is for students majoring in computer science, cybersecurity, and law enforcement and justice administration. This is a required course for the cybersecurity, but it is an elective course for other majors. Now we're going to look at the process, that how do I identify the hands-on activities that can I create for a particular course. Especially for right now, I'm talking about for a computer forensic course, but definitely you guys can use the same process to create hands-on activities for other courses too. So this is the learning objective. So in learning objective, when I look into the learning objective, I identify that where I can really bring in the hands-on activities for the students and they can master that particular concept. So for example, the first learning objective that I identified, one hands-on activity for students where they can manually disassemble and then reassemble the PC. So that's the one, like this will have their hands-on, our department has old computers, and with the old computers, I always bring them to the classroom and they always have a lot of fun. And whenever I do the course evaluation, and I always get like, oh my God, I really like that hands-on activity, and it was a really good experience. And then I looked into the sectors and clusters. Well, yes, I can create another lab, maybe one lab or two lab. Then it's very important that they're supposed to understand the image formatting, acquisition methods, and I just said, well, I need to have some kind of a hands-on activity so they can understand it. So looking into the learning course objectives, the learning outcomes, I identify the most important topics that where I can bring the hands-on activities. Yes, I try my best. I try my best to bring as many as hands-on activities, but sometimes that's not possibility. Sometimes we have to teach them the theory. We cannot bring any hands-on activity. For example, when it comes into like teaching tools, so definitely we need to bring the hands-on activities so they can learn about those tools. So in this case, I bring the hands-on activity for OS forensic, autopsy, FTK imager, register viewer, so they can understand like how they can use these tools to acquire, validate, and explore detailed evidence. So this is the process. So I'm explaining that I'm looking into the course learning outcomes to identify some of the topics that I can use to create the hands-on activity. Other important thing is how your department schedules your class. So in my cases, during the fall semester, I'm scheduled during Tuesdays and Thursdays, and during spring semester, I'm scheduled on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to manage because like you design a lab, the students will complete in one particular day, and then for the next semester, you are teaching Mondays, Wednesday, Friday, because Mondays, Wednesday, Fridays are 50 minutes rather than 1 hour and 20 minutes class. So, but most of the time, the way that I manage is like most of the time, if I'm teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays, in that case, I will spend maybe 30 minutes for the lecture, and then I'll give them the 30 minutes or 40 minutes remaining time to complete the lab activity. On spring semester, I just reserve one day. Mondays, most of the time, is reserved for the lecture, and then they work on the lab on Wednesdays and Fridays. But again, there's no set rule. I can always sometimes change, but this is kind of layout I have for my course. Okay, so it's very important the student has to understand the background knowledge. So in that case, what I always on Mondays or whenever like I have, depending upon the day of the week, so I give them a background knowledge about the activity that we will be working on, about the topic that they will be completing. So for example, in this case, they will be preparing a target drive. Like that is very important in the field of computer forensic. So that's the first step in preservation effort in use reliable and clean storage. So they need to use a tool to make sure that they understand it so they can prepare a target drive. And I give them all the background knowledge before they can complete the lab. So now it comes into like how, in terms of how I design the hands-on activities. So first thing first, I need to have a really objective, like, okay, what is the objective for that particular hands-on activity so they can understand it. Then all the materials required that must be listed there so they understand that, well, I need a Windows computer. Depending upon like we have a lab, we do not ask them to bring their own computer, but in case like you're teaching online, you can always require them that it needs to be, they need to have a Windows computer or maybe another type of computer. What other materials needed? If there's any kind of really important thing, I highlight it in red, like this exercise will erase all that on your USB drive. So make sure that you put it there so they understand it. They do not complain later on. So this is kind of a format that I have. Then I provide them a step-by-step guideline or instruction, like how they have to do it. Because remember, some of the students in my course, they do not have much experience in cybersecurity. Maybe they have never formatted a drive. They have never worked with a particular tool, So in that case, the way that I design my instructions, like anyone can really follow through. So in this case, I give them a step-by-step. In step 1, that they have to insert it. Step 2, they have to open the command prompt. In the step 3, they have to explore the format command. The purpose of this particular activity is that they have to format a USB, provided USB, using the format command. So then I provide them additional information, what I'm looking for, because it's very, very important that we tell them kind of upfront that, well, this is exactly I'm looking for. So in this case, what I'm looking for, I explain it. They need to format a USB, provided USB, using the format command with the following specification. So for example, they need to format the USB like with the NTFS file system. They need to have the drive label as their first name. And then they need the most important thing, they need to perform one pass of writing zeros to the drive, So that is very important. Then I mentioned that this switch is ignored when the /Q is used, and then allocation unit. So this is kind of my expectation that they have to understand from the lecture, so they can be very, very confident when they need to format a USB drive using a command line tool. I mean, this is another thing that I do not want them to just, okay, well, they have the hands-on activity and they say, well, we are done, okay. So they need to provide me a proof, they need to provide me that, yes, they were able to complete a particular task. And how I want them to provide me the proof, I want them to provide me proof in terms of a screenshot. So they can take a screenshot of the output of that particular command that they're executing. In this scenario, they're executing this format command, and then I ask them that what's the requirement? What's the requirement for taking the screenshot? They have to include it in the lab report. So once that one is completed, so next step is I have created a lab submission document. That's very, very important that, because you need to tell them like how. What is your requirement? What is your expectation? So in this case, for example, I want like for all of my hands-on activities, they need to include a cover page. They need to be more professional. They need to know like, okay, well, how to include the cover page and what exactly needs to be on the cover page. Then all the figures and tables must be properly labeled. Then every lab must have a lab objective because they need to understand what the lab objective is. So that will kind of force them to go back to look at the lab objective and they say, well, yes, I met the lab objective. They use the passive voice when writing the report and also avoid using first or third person. So I have that document available to them on the learning portal. I make that document available to them at maybe beginning of the semester. Most of the time I make that available during the first week of the semester. So they do not have any problem understanding the lab submission requirements. This is just a snippet. This is just a snippet that like some of the students have followed the guidelines. They have taken a screenshot. They have labeled the figure the way that I want them, then provided them the explanation, like what exactly I'm looking at it. So some are pretty newbie, they're improving. Some are going a little bit an extra mile. They're just like highlighting every single piece of that command. And this is, well, number one, this is what number one is. This is number two, this is the file system. This is the label for my drive. Number four, this is number of the passes, for my writing zeros on the drive, and then allocation unit. So depending upon some of the labs are really good and some of the labs are just like they need the improvements. Okay, so again, I said it's very important that we need to have the assessment type. So I do the two types of assessment type. Number one assessment is a lab report. So I will grade the lab, I will provide them a feedback. Number two, one important thing is sometimes the students say, well, I do not want to submit the lab. I have a quiz at the end of the class. So I just want to test their knowledge. Are they really learning it? So for example, I have taken some of the information that we learn in the lecture and the information that I have included in the lab, and they have to answer, they have to complete that one. So that gives me a satisfaction that yes, they are learning. So learning is there. Now I'm going to talk about from my side. Okay, so I know that I have done the hard work. I gave them the hands-on activities. Is it really effective? Are they really satisfied? This is my course evaluation report. Like I have only 10 students. As you guys can see that most of the students rated me at the highest, like is the number 5. And then if I look at, I have more, like in fall 2024, I have more students because the students kind of love doing the hands-on activities. And as you guys can see, that I have 17 students. And again, output is kind of the same, that I'm going for like the highest ranking there. Then I have 20 students now in the last semester in 2025. And then again, I'm in the kind of the same range at the 5. So this kind of gives me satisfaction that yes, all the hands-on activities that I bring to the classroom that help students to understand the lecture, and also they appreciate completing those hands-on activities. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it your time. Again, my name is Tahir Khan. I'm associate professor and interim director of WIU Cybersecurity Center at WIU. I know that we have only a few minutes left. If anyone has any question, I would be more than happy to answer for you guys.
feel free to come off of mute, or if you'd like to just type it in the chat. Thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you.
Any questions from the group? Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm teaching digital forensics for the first time this semester, so creating those hands-on is definitely a task. And making sure that they're actually hitting the learning objectives is something that it's not always super easy to tell if you don't design the activity correctly. So thank you so much for this presentation. I know I took some things away from it. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
that
you so
time,
much for taking the time.
Thank
Okay.
you.